Greetings, gang. CS Bernard here once again for Geeky News, coming to, of course, talk to you, as promised, about Sonic Generations. What can I say? Has it really been 20 years? Well, as this game will attest, it has. Back in 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog first came across to audiences around the world in Sega Master Drive or Sega Genesis, depending on where you had it and where you played it. Since then, we've had a pretty long and wearisome road of different sequels and spin-offs and this, that, and the other that have, some say, kind of dragged the character through the mud over a very lengthy series of games and terrible, terrible ideas. The bottom of the barrel, everyone universally agrees, of course, is the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 game, which was, of course, the first Sonic game to be released on the newer consoles, or what was then the newer consoles of the PS3, Xbox 360, and so forth and so on. From there, though, Sega seems to have gotten the tools back in their belt and have started to really figure out what to do with a more modern imagining of their game character as we go into the 2010s. In this case, we learned things from Sonic Unleashed, where the day stages where you use nothing but super speed and Sonic's natural agility to get to the stages, which were pretty well received and actually had very good gameplay. And this was continued on into Sonic Colors, where we changed voice cast, got improvement on the controls, and of course did away with all sorts of other little things such as item finding and so forth and so on. Instead, relying more on getting from point A to point B as quickly as possible, avoiding the most traps and hitting the most bad guys. Playing classic fun. Which is the point behind this game, Sonic Generations. Here you have, of course, two Sonics to play as, given the fact that the plot here involves time travel. And that's about it. The plot is very, 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 very thin. This entire game runs on nostalgia fuel. That's it. It doesn't have its own memorable song, for instance. The only thing you get, of course, is a rehash of the 1991 song from Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and a little melody that plays during the opening cinematic. Beyond that, not much else. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The game in and of itself is good, and considering the fact that the long history of the 2000s have been hit or miss, mostly miss, that's saying quite a bit. It's at least a good middling ground level. For classic fans of the games and this, that, and the other, older fans such as myself, it's a must-play. Not necessarily in the sense that you couldn't find a better game. There are better games out there. I will flat out tell you. I loved Batman Arkham City, and of course there's all the rage about Skyrim and Battlefield 3, Call of Duty 3, and I could go on and on and on. But if you really do want to just jump back and have some fun with the series overall, play this game. For the most part, it presents you with reimaginings of all the classic courses from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 all the way up to, of course, Sonic Colors. Each stage is not the exact same as it would have been way back when or even more recently. Instead, they've been redesigned to fit a more classic 2.5D side-scrolling adventure for classic Sonic, and alternate between 2.5D and full-on 3D with Sonic himself nowadays. On the whole, I would get this game a very high score for the musical arrangements. They have gone back, done remixes, and even gotten some of the older cast and crew that worked on various other audio for the game to tweak their songs and do pretty good. If I were to pick my favorite, it would have to be the City Escape remix for classic Sonic. If I were to pick a favorite stage, I'd probably have to say it would be, for pure aesthetic appeal, the Sky Sanctuary stage, whether in, classic or modern flavors. It's gorgeous. Beyond that, though, I can't really gush about the game too much, because there's not very much character involvement or development. You get only a smattering of certain really good scenes, when you do have time to stop and do something with the plot, and it's just good to go ahead and take a look back at the franchise as a whole. Some would say it's a very obvious demonstration of how the old games were better, but I don't really want to go ahead and say that. I would want to go ahead and put the game on its own merits as having shown the best of what each generation of Sonic the Hedgehog could do. Beyond that, though, I had to be fair and critical with it overall. Like I said, this is not the greatest game ever, but it's a good game. It's a good rental if you're a hardcore gamer in general, and it's definitely something you'd want to do if you're a classic Sonic the Hedgehog fan, or, a more recent one. So, as such, I had to give it about 3 out of 5, and give it a middling score as such. True, you can find something better to do with your time, but, why not? It's for the funs and, shits and giggles of it anyway. And, what better way to celebrate 20 years of a franchise that's managed to actually stick around with us all these years after all. Oh well, that's all I can say for a short little review of this little game. That's me, C.S. Bernard, signing off for this time. Come back with me next time as I check out, ah, shit. Really? This bullshit again? Damn it. I'll see you next time.